This week was a week to remember. It was a shit week. Like the price action was so confusing because I don't understand how fundamentals and technical analysis are just like debating who is stronger. Now, I think I started trading on Thursday. I think so. Yes. So now let's look at my journal. On the sentimental report, if you look, you can see that we are 47% bearish. So that means this week was supposed to be bearish. Do you get? Now, for the news that came out, the CPI, you can look at the data, right? Now, when it came out, it was positive. Now, tell me why CPI is positive to dollar, but still buying on gold. And later on, DXY was selling on that particular day, I think. You get. So I do not understand. Now, secondly, I think for PPI, you can see no, sorry, let's check at the news event from last week. Okay, I only recorded this guy, and I didn't record this guy. Yeah. Now look at this, right? You see, it was revised. Now I could remember vividly that when this news came out, it was still positive to dollar. But later when I checked, it was revised. Do you get? Now look at this news that was revised on Friday. Now look at the data. Yeah, 0.7, 0.7. Now I recorded that stuff in the morning. Now look at this. 0.4 was the previous. The forecast was 0.3, right? Now, when it came out, now they revised the news. They had to like change some data. Do you get? Now, look at the previous now 0.7, 0.7. So you can see market was shitty last. Sorry, this week was kind of crazy. And if you're not careful, you might end up losing your account. Do you get? So the only time I predicted, okay, I was like looking for sales last week because based on like the sentimental report, I was like, okay, let me go with the flow, the big guys, right? The only time I say, okay, let me go with the flow, though I didn't trade last week, it was just basically journal. I was just journaling everything. I said, okay, let me like go with the buyers since price refused to sell because we have like drawn liquidity, blah blah blah. Now look at price respected the zone, obviously, but what happened next to the downside? And if you watch the other video, I talked about these two guys here. I wanted price to take them out before buying, but what happened? Price came here, maybe tapped on this fair value gap and started buying. Sometimes I don't really understand gold. Once you expect something, you do another thing different. So for now, I think I would just like stay off until the price action is settled. Because even if you check on DXY, right, we are still currently battling on this zone here since now I have a fair value gap, right? Now I wrote since price broke this zone a key level, that means we are now big on sales. But mind you, there's a demand zone here. Now if I draw my line at the down of the zone, right, then go on line charts, you can see, okay, thank God. Let me put a line because this is the peak points. So we are currently at that zone. Let's see for next week if price is going to respect this demand zone or convert this demand zone to a supply zone. That's all I'm looking for next week because I'll be big on sales. Now currently my moving average is above, right? There was this is a clean engulfing candle, which is nice, right? For a bearish momentum. Remember, I've been preaching about sales on DXY. Now let's see what will happen next week. Let's look at the weekly time frame on that our fair value gap. This is the fair value gap, right? Now price left. price left, retrace, inducement or highlighting, then push to the downside. I like the candlestick that I'm seeing on the weekly time frame. This is good. I feel like market is going to be selling now on the weekly time frame. It's good. On the monthly, still good. It's forming a evening star, an evening star. Sorry. Yeah. So that's it for the XY. I think the XY is very bearish. That's all I'm seeing on the higher time frame. Then let's look at gold on the higher time frame. It's giving me a sweet engulfing candle, right? Okay, this candlestick is still forming bullish. On the weekly, what am I seeing? Just in a rejection for the week. So next week, maybe price might enter into this fair value gap before buying. I do not really know because sometimes gold might just be so crazy. But let's see. I feel like price might just like react on this fair value gap before buying. So fingers crossed. Now look at the chart that I'm seeing here now. This is a demand zone, right? Let's look at this as a demand zone. But this is a drawn liquidity. And I wouldn't like to take my buy until I see this guy. And anything, if price gets to this zone, obviously they are going to take this guy and still again. So to be honest, right, I feel like that's why I said I will just stay out of the market for next week. I think so. Else, maybe if price might just react, come back to this fair value gap. Maybe I might take a sell to the downside. Because taking a sell sometimes on gold, when I know that the price is still very bullish, it's just like a trap. And they might just do like buy the dip. Do you get? So sometimes even when you see drawn liquidity, price will still respect that zone. I don't know, the price action this year is just so crazy. Like now, take for instance now, this is the drawn liquidity, right? Now price get to this zone, almost at the top. What happened? They started selling. So sometimes I feel like you, sometimes you just be like just allow the market do whatever they want to do. Don't try to force the price action to respect your decision or do you get? Just go with the flow. Since I know that okay, something might happen here, it's just better for me to stay off because I think it's more suitable, it's more it is nice or your account is active than to lose a certain amount. Do you get? Because of you are not too sure. So that's I think that's it for this week because I don't want the video to be too long. We just know like this week was crazy. I feel like next week will general my general bias is still bullish on gold. So let's see what will happen next week. I just want a fast retracement to take out like multiple liquidities before buying. Else I will be looking for sales next week. Right. Uh, you can imagine the closing of the week. That's when gold was selling drastically when we had like positive data during the week. A whole CPI was positive and nothing happened. It just like tap and went back up to clear out liquidities, profitable sellers. Same thing happened the next day, though later changed the data to revised. Now you can imagine this guy also when I checked on Friday was still negative, but later I saw that it was reversed, which was positive. Now you get because now the actual is now 0.4, which the previous was 0.7, which is negative to dollar. I think it's negative now because if the actual is better than the forecast, then it's good for the currency, right? Actual greater than the forecast, good for the currency. Now the actual, this is minus 0.4, which is lesser than the forecast and lesser than the previous. So yeah, then that's when gold was selling. Can you imagine when the when it was bad for dollar? Let's see what will happen next week. Because this week was crazy. I swear to God. We'll see you guys on the next video. Stay safe. Stay blessed.